All right. Welcome. Make Happiness Mondays. I'm your host, Ian Price,
And I'm the
co-host.
guy that sits across from Ian, Eli Prescott.
That's right.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for listening. It's a good week.
Yes, a nice Monday. It's nice and warm.
Mm-hmm. Way warmer than last week when we were
Yes.
filming the other one.
Last time there was like 2 feet of snow in Ian's front yard, and now there is none.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But actually, yesterday I got to go snowboarding, which is pretty wild. Because it's like the end of April and I went snowboarding.
right.
That doesn't happen in Minnesota.
Never. So where'd you go?
I went to this place called Trollhagen over in Dresser, Wisconsin. It's just like an hour and 15, hour and a half away from the Twin Cities.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I broke my wrist there as well. I haven't been able to move it very much since I got back. So actually, after we're finished with filming this or recording this, I'm going to go to the doctor and get an x-ray.
All right, there's a classic Ian moment there. I think last week, not on the podcast, but we had talked about me knowing Ian for such a long time, and it seems like every year in middle school and a lot of high school, there'd be at least one broken bone. I'd see him come in with a boot or a cast on, and I'd be like, "Come on, man."
Yeah, I'm probably upwards of like 19 broken bones, probably.
Wow. But you still keep going, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you don't hurt yourself, you're not using your body to its fullest because your body can heal itself. So why not see what your body's capable of?
For sure. I guess some people might be afraid of that, but you're just going all out, aren't you?
I suppose. I'm an adrenaline junkie too. I like to test things and see how far I can go and push myself, especially when it comes to action sports. But yeah, so what are we talking about today, Eli?
Well, on the agenda, we are going to talk about past, presents, and futures. So kind of like past regarding regrets, and if that's something that we
Do you believe in regrets?
regret.
Do you have any regrets?
I wouldn't say so because I mean, there's little things that are like, ooh, it probably shouldn't have done that, but
Yep.
things have turned out pretty well for me because without doing the things I've done, I wouldn't be who I am. And
Exactly. I definitely agree. Those some things that's like really stupid mistakes that you
it's
could
just
have
like,
easily avoided.
dude, come on,
Yeah.
type thing. Yeah. How about yourself?
Well, overall, I'm on the same page. I think there's not a whole lot of things that I regret doing because it made me who I am today. But I do think there are little moments that are just like common sensing where it's like, God damn it, Ian, why did you do that?
Yep.
But it is what
Everyone
it
has
is.
those moments, and you shouldn't live with regret because that's, you're just worrying about things that you can't do anything about.
Exactly. And it already happened, so there's no sense in focusing on it.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm happy where I'm at. I've done a lot of things I'm not really proud of, but I mean, it also made me who I'm supposed to be or wherever I'm going or pointed me in the right direction. Because one of my favorite quotes from inspirational person I look up to, he said, "Your worst mistake is your best advice," which is a very true statement.
That's a real thinker there. Your worst mistake is your best advice.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to pre-Make Happiness Ian. Tell us about the young child that
Like,
you were.
Way before my positive and lifestyle.
Yep. Like
Okay.
I think last week we talked about it. Maybe before you were a teenager, essentially.
Before I was a teen, like when I was fairly young and I'm talking like 11, 12 and younger, 13 and under, I was a very self-centered person, very controlling person. If things didn't go my way, I would throw a hissy fit and I would throw tantrums and get really mad. I was not in control at all. I would let my emotions take over, and it was not healthy.
I think a lot of young people definitely roll with that. And I mean, that's probably a natural thing to progress from. So it's...
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. I was very... I think I touched on this last time, but I didn't really feel like... or I was very self-conscious about a lot of things and what other people thought of me. And I don't know why. Because after like going through all of the stuff of figuring out who I am and figuring out what life is all about, and I've just learned to care less about what people think of you. But beforehand, I was very self-conscious about everything else, like people liking me and that kind of thing. And I talked about it last week a little bit, but it's really interesting how much has changed since then. Because before, I was a very straightforward person, is like, you have to do this, you have to like what I like, and if not, then I hate you, which is I don't know.
That's honestly some of the mentality that goes on in the world, and especially nowadays, because it's like, well, I've listened to this other podcast where actually this guy talked about the fact that people may disagree with actions that he does, or like opinions that he agrees with, and even though you disagree with him, you don't have to hate him. You can have a civilized conversation, or you don't even have to talk to him or listen to him at all. I mean, no one's forcing you to do anything about that. So that's kind of a way that I come to sort of understanding and like listening to the news and we're not going to get political here, but when I you see that stuff on television, I'm just like, you know what? I have my opinions about this, and no one ever wants to hear them, and they're really only valid to myself. So I'm not gonna go spew all that stuff out in front of
there's no point
everyone.
I think going back to what you were saying about if there's an opinion that someone is saying and you don't like it, or you don't agree with what their stance is on whatever the case may be, then don't affiliate yourself with that. There's no need for you to say, well, I don't like that because of 1, 2, 3, 4. You just don't have to say anything, and you can just go do your own thing. There's no need to argue with them. If they don't like what you like, then that's just how it is.
Yeah, it's just wasted time. You're not going to spend all that time trying to sway them to your own beliefs or the other way around. It's just a waste of time and effort, and really it's not making you or them or anyone else a better person by arguing with them about it.
Exactly. And if you guys they might be really stubborn, so they're not going to change their opinion. So then there's, again, no reason to pick a fight with them. All right. Past. Done.
Past is done. All right. Let's move on to now.
But that's the other thing. All there is now. So there is no past, in my opinion.
There is no past. That's a thinker.
I mean, essentially, we can find traces of past, and we can look at things we can see what other people have done. We can look at what people have accomplished or whatever, but all that really exists is the present. There is no past. There is no future. All that is right now.
That kind of goes to this thought that I've actually thought about myself, is that there's no real proof that the universe existed before we were born, because all we know is what we are. We can't say for sure that all of this really happened.
That's true.
Which is kind of trippy to think about, and maybe you shouldn't think about it too hard. But yeah, there you go. There's something to think about.
That is. That's crazy. Yeah, I definitely think that there's I'm sure a few of you know that are listening, I always like to say that today is the best day of my life because it is the only day, and it is the present, and this is all that exists. So I believe that every day can be the best day of my life. And I think there is a lot of truth to that, because the more that you focus on the past or worry about what's coming ahead, regardless if it's a month from now or a couple weeks from now, there's no need to focus on it, because all that really matters is what is happening in the present.
And why not make it the best day ever? Because why would you want anything else than to have your greatest day? Or
that's a fair point.
Yeah, like you wake up, the birds are singing, it's nice and warm out, you go outside and
well, even you might wake up and it might be cold and rainy.
Well, yeah, sure.
But who cares? Why not still have a really good day,
Yep.
There's no reason not to. Why would you want to have a bad day?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to it where you should focus on living in the moment, but I also understand that you should be aware of the past and the present, but don't let it drag you down, and don't let your mind focus on it. Because the more you focus on the past, the more you're taken away from living in the present. Just like with technology, the more you're focused on social media, the less you're focused on being in the present, which is not a good thing, because then you're invested into a screen rather than into your own life and into your own surroundings.
We talked about this last week too, and about how feeding into social media is like feeding your ego, and it's not necessarily a healthy activity to be a part of, but that's kind of the culture now.
Yep.
Is like at rock concerts, you see,
Oh, it's instant gratification.
yeah, thousands of people with their phones up taking videos,
Yep.
and then rather than jumping around and listening to what's actually going on, they're just trying to show that, oh, look where I am and look
Yep.
what I'm doing. Isn't this so cool? And
Mm-hmm.
they'd rather get that sort of gratification from other people rather than enjoy themselves at the concert, which
But
is
here's another point that I would say. It's kind of a devil's advocate kind of thing.
okay.
I've definitely done this before where I'll film stuff at a concert, but it's not because I want everyone else to know what I'm doing. It's because I want to watch it the next day.
Right. And I'm not saying you're a terrible person if you're videotaping at a concert. It's just when that's all you're doing, you're not paying attention to anything that's going on. You're just like, woo, look what I'm doing. Taking
Right.
your Snapchat story and
Mm-hmm.
showing everyone what you're doing. And it's, I mean, it's, you can do that. It's cool. Like let everyone know what you're going to. And like, maybe that'll spark up a conversation about.
But also, I don't think anyone likes going through 30
Right.
videos of their concert.
Yeah, blown out audio of just like nonsense.
It's like
dark
after a couple
room.
videos, we
Yeah.
get it.
Yep.
You're at a concert. It's okay.
It's like, hey, look where I am. Check them out, or I'm into these guys.
Again, it's about balance. Comes back to what we were talking about last week a little bit. You gotta, it's okay to post them and like show where you are, but it's also not a good thing to fully engulf yourself in it.
Just that's what you're all about, is just that over and over again. I definitely see that on social media.
Yeah, no doubt.
So Ian, what do you think about the future? Where are we headed?
Dude, I don't know, man. It's a great question. I think the future is unknown, and I think that it's okay to worry about it, but I also think that it's not a good thing to focus on it. Like, it's okay to have worries about certain things like finals or projects or something coming up, because I know me and Eli are both in school right now, and we have finals coming up in a couple weeks, and I know we're both stressed about it, but there's no sense in focusing on it, because in all reality, it's just about sitting down and studying for it. It's not,
Yeah, there's only so much you can do, and you shouldn't dwell on it more than you should, than you need to, because what's the point of constantly worrying about something you can only do so much about, or maybe you can't do anything about it? So
or like
you shouldn't worry about
or something.
Right.
You can only there's no need to stress about it if you have to speak in front of a class or something, because you're going to have to do it regardless. So don't focus on it. It's okay to acknowledge it, but don't just sit on it.
Because even in my own mindset, before I've had to go up in front of classes and talk about it, I think the more time I spend in a better place sort of in my mind, or if I'm even busy talking to friends or something, even before I'm about to go up, that'll clear my mind and make me sort of
more confident or
more
relaxed.
confident and outgoing and relaxed, and that way I can sort of get out what I need to get out.
Right. I was watching an interview by Simon Sinek. He's a very famous motivational speaker and leadership speaker, but he had a really cool thing that I liked, and talked about being nervous when you're going up for a big event or a big something you have to do. He stated that excitement and being nervous have very, very similar characteristics as far as emotion. Your heart rate starts to go, you're kind of getting a little sweaty, you're getting a little anxious, and he said that if you can focus on when you feel nervous, train your brain into thinking it's excitement, and then over time, eventually, you will be more excited and more well prepared for something. Like, let's say you're doing a presentation for school, just for sake of the conversation, and your friend asks you, "Hey, how are you doing, man?" "Well, I'm really nervous for this." But instead, you could say, "Oh, actually, I'm pretty excited." Then it's just going to ease your mind, and it's going to go a lot smoother for you in the long run.
That's something I've absolutely done, where someone's we're talking about a relatable project that we're working on. I'll be like, I'm pumped. I'll sort of get jumpy and sort of psych myself up to what I'm about to do. And I think that definitely helps.
Rather than sitting there twiddling your thumbs and being, I don't think I'm going to do very well. I'm really nervous about this.
Just thinking of all the things that could go wrong or whatever. Just be confident in yourself. Don't second guess. Yeah, don't overthink or second guess yourself. you'll do fine.
Mm-hmm. Like, how does that go for you with concerts? I know you.
Personally, like, I can not imagine going up on stage in front of a bunch of people with nothing in my hands. So I think it's a good thing that I play an instrument, because it's something I know I'm proficient at. I can do it, and well, most people
Do you get nervous when you go up on stage to perform?
Honestly, not really.
Okay.
And that's sort of what I was getting at, is if I have this thing in my hand that I know I'm good at, and that's what people are here to see,
and it makes you feel confident with yourself.
I'm more confident with what I can do,
because and you enjoy it.
Yes, I love doing that.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
How about yourself? Do you have any sort of
anxieties
about things that you're...
Totally, all the time. Whenever people ask me for advice, or I'm doing like a talk with someone or a motivational thing, it's like I'm nervous about what I should say, because I want to make sure I say the right thing. And there's so many things I could say, but I don't know if it's going to fit the situation.
Just being put on the spot like that.
Exactly. And that happens to me quite a bit, actually. But it's trying to figure out, what is the right lesson, or what is the right argument that I should talk about that applies to their situation specifically, rather than just being very general. Because when you're very general, people like the piece of it, they like it as a whole, but it doesn't really help them because it's not specific and it's not meaningful
just
to their situation.
Like a cliche saying that can help anyone, but there's like a personal touch to it when you're going to someone and talking to them about it, and they can, keep something or take something away from your conversation, which I think that you're talking about here. Yeah,
definitely. But so that's pretty much the only thing that I really get nervous or anxious about, because other than that, like I said, I've been trying really hard to stay, excited rather than nervous. And I think that helps a lot. Like when I'm doing BMX biking or snowboarding and I'm trying a new trick that's really scary, it's like I'm thinking about it being excited, and I'm thinking about landing it. I'm not thinking about falling on my face, or what I mean?
Those are just the side effects. Yep. So we talked about sort of the negative things. Let's talk about things we're looking forward to.
Okay.
Got anything coming up?
Yeah. Well, I got a couple of things lined up this summer, but at the end of May, I'm actually going to Los Angeles for the first time. So that'll be really cool.
Exciting.
I've never been to California.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool place.
Yeah. Me and my girlfriend just decided that we wanted to go plan a trip somewhere, and we were both like, wait, we've never been to LA. Let's go. So we're going out there for a week. We're going to stay with my cousin at his place for a couple of days, and then find an Airbnb, so it'll be a little bit cheaper. But
very cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And hopefully by that time I'll have a little bit more merch and a little bit more designs for Make Happiness, so I can bring a bunch of stuff out there. And
I was going to say, you could just like rep your stuff and like, here, man, check it out. Check out the podcast. Shout out to the Californians listening from the future.
My cousin listens, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, I want to bring a bunch of stickers and hand them out to people and do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, just slap them around town, honestly.
But a couple of things I really want to do in LA. I don't know if this is going to be more focused towards the skate culture, but I really want to go to the skate park on the beach of
Venice Beach.
Venice Beach skate park.
I've been there. It's
I really
cool
want to
spot.
go to that one, and then I also want to go climb up on top of the Hollywood sign, just because it's a thing that you should do.
Go up there.
Yeah.
Well, I think you can get in trouble for that, but
not climbing on it. But
okay, I was like, okay, fell in here.
Going up to the sign.
Right. Yep. I don't think I even noticed it when I went there. I went there last October to do some shows actually in LA. I don't even remember seeing it. I mean, there were like wildfires in the area, so maybe the smoke was kind of blocking it. But
did you go up to that observatory?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, that was another place I wanted to check out because it's a really cool view, apparently.
Yeah, all the classic touristy spots. Yeah, we weren't very mobile. I mean, I guess we just kind of walked around the few miles around Santa Monica where we stayed. So we walked to the pier every day, and we walked down to Venice Beach. Just kind of that area. It's a cool spot. Meet a bunch of interesting people. And
do you have anything that you're looking forward to this summer?
For sure. I just got to finish up a few internship things for school, and I should be ready to be employed in the professional workforce, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Also a little nervous, but that comes with it. But
at least you're doing what you want to do, and you're going into the...
It's exciting. hopefully I can help out some artists looking to record their stuff and put their art down
There you go.
on the internet.
I'm sure you will. Well, you're doing it right now because if you think about it,
Yes.
I'm an artist in a
Yep.
way. I'm painting down my canvas as we speak.
Yep. And this is fun. I'm having fun. It's a little weird for me, but this is cool.
I think it's weird for both of us. We're
Yeah.
not used to this kind of thing because it's like we're really good friends. We've known each other for a long time, but it's weird to sit down and have this conversation
Yep.
knowing that people are listening to us.
Yep.
So it's a weird adjustment. All right. So now we talked about the past, the present, and the future. Now I want to transition into a section where I talk about a specific blog on my website and I go into a little bit more depth about it. This one I published on January 19th of 2018. This one is called The Art of Persistence. There's actually a video tied to this blog, which is kind of cool, but it's me of doing a snowboard trick on a picnic table. And I was trying this trick for probably, it says over an hour and a half of trying it because I kept falling in it. It was a new trick I was trying to learn. I couldn't figure out the motions.
Mm-hmm.
So I was constantly like walking back up the hill, trying it, and then doing this for an hour and a half. And it probably was over maybe 50 to 100 tries, which is pretty insane.
Wow.
But that's the part of it. I was so dedicated to actually getting that new trick and getting it done because I wanted to learn it really bad and I wanted to get it on video because I thought it looked really cool. So it's just the act of being persistent with it. And because I wanted it so bad, I just kept trying and trying and trying.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure you've experienced that when you're trying to learn a new song or like
for
a
sure.
hard riff or something.
Yeah, like when you're working so hard at something, the effort seems like incredibly hard work. It's just like you're not quite getting it, but that's what's so rewarding about once you finally do it. It's you've earned it.
Yep.
It's not just been handed to you,
Right.
but you've actually done something that you're super stoked about, and
you have a sense of accomplishment.
Yes.
And it's just nice, gratifying feeling.
Yep.
Like that's why when I look back and I see this footage, I'm watching the video right now and I think it looks so good. I love how for those of you I'll explain the trick kind of. I jumped onto the table and then I kind of did a tail press where I put the front end of my snowboard in the air. I dragged both of my hands on the picnic table across the entire top. And then when I was coming off the picnic table, I spun my snowboard around and did a 180 degrees turn with it, as well as having my hands come off of the picnic table at the same time or like simultaneously with spinning my snowboard. And it took me forever to figure out that motion. But after I figured it out and I landed it that one time, I thought it looked so good and I was so happy about it. And I had such a high excitement and energetic feeling because I finally landed it.
yeah, as someone who used to skateboard, like you spend hours doing the same thing repetitive, like you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again until you finally get it and you're like, yes, and that's all you care about.
Right.
You spend all this time and you land one trick and you're just super excited, and that's what it's about when you're doing sports or learning something new.
Yeah, or even like painting or music or anything or school. You get that A on the test that you worked really hard for and it's just so nice. You're like, yes. But I think it's a really cool thing to do as long as as far as the persistent side and being motivated, it's about being focused on what you want. You have to want it bad enough. If you only kind of want it, but you're not willing to put in the work of trying continuously until you actually get it, then you're never going to get there. You have to want it.
And each time you get knocked down, as cliche as this is, you got to get back up.
Oh, yeah.
Keep going.
No doubt. And that's part of it. Because if you don't want it bad enough, then you're just going to lay on the floor.
Yep.
But if you want it, you're going to get back up and try it again.
Yep. All right. So now under our Q&A section, we had a few questions sent in from a handful of people. So the first one is, where does your motivation come from, Ian? And what are your biggest influences / inspirations?
Okay. Ooh, good question. My motivation comes from probably myself for the most part. I mean, I want to be the best that I can be and I want to do the best I can do. And whenever I feel like I'm not being the best I can be, or I'm not being as productive as I should be, I'm not being as happy as I could be, that kind of thing. Whenever I get in over my head and I get so overwhelmed with stuff, honestly, I'll just go on YouTube and I'll watch a motivational video, those like inspirational videos. And then that just amps me up and I'm good for the rest of the day.
Nice. It's good to stay self-driven.
Yeah. But as far as inspirations go, a lot of them actually come from a fair amount of them are motivational speakers like Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, and Simon Sinek, as I said earlier. But also a couple just local people like Dustin Grice. I look up to him. He's a local action sports guy, and he runs his own business, and he does a lot of stuff, and I don't know how he stays on top of it. And then also, I just look up to some other just like friends and family and that kind of thing, because they have a very good grasp on certain aspects of life that I wish I did. So I kind of try to mimic that in a sense.
You learn from those around you.
Yep.
So you want to surround yourself with sort of a constructive community.
Right. Yeah. People who are I want to be like, or I want to have certain personality traits of, or I want to grow with. But how about you?
I guess I would say, because I'm so involved with music, I would have to say like producers like Jerry Finn, who did a lot of rock albums like with old Green Day stuff and Blink-182, and then like Dr. Dre. He's just such like a pioneer of what rap has become. And I've been getting into rap a lot the past few years, and just how different it's become from back then. And I'm really, like, not to be like an old school elitist, but I'm really into like the old school like lyrical style and just
more meaningful.
Right. It's simplicity in the beats, and it's the lyrics are so meaningful, and that's what like good producers do. They work with the artist to get the best out of them.
And that's what you want to be. That's what inspires you.
Ideally, I'd like to potentially get to that spot where I can work with these artists and get the best art out of them.
Right.
And I guess as a musician, I would have to say like Duff McKagan, the bassist of Guns N' Roses.
Oh, sure.
I want to say like 9th grade, I read his biography in like a day. And I was just like super stoked, because I love Guns N' Roses, and their music was always just awesome and different. And just wanting to play bass after that, hearing all those stories and be like, this guy's rad. I want to be like this guy. The next question is, where are your favorite spots to go around here, around town?
Oh, okay. So in the Twin Cities?
Yep.
Favorite local spots? Ooh, are we talking like just places to hang out? Or are we talking restaurants? Or are we talking everything?
I'll
go.
Let's start out with places to hang out.
Okay. I really like going for bike rides and longboard rides around the lake. So like Calhoun, Harriet, that area. We can go cruise down Lake Street. It's always fun to stop by Mesa Pizza. They have really good pizza, and it's only $4 a slice, and they're big ass slices, and they have so many different toppings.
Shout out to Mesa Pizza.
And Grande, if he still works there. I don't know if he does, but he would always hook it up with free pizza whenever he'd go there. As far as I don't know, I just like being in the atmosphere of downtown area, just because I don't know if I like all the commotion, but I like the idea of being around the commotion, I suppose.
Sort of the urban lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like there's, it's one thing to sort of see it, but then like be in it, it's a little bit different, especially if you're like introverted. You don't want to be around a huge crowd of people. But
which is also like, I also love being down by the river bottoms in Bloomington, because it's so secluded. There's no one around. It's just, you're out there with some water and some trees, you're completely alone. There's also a place over at the Highland Lake trails that I really like going to. I longboard around those trails a lot, but there's one section of the trail that you can walk off on this hiking trail. Then there's this little patch, there's like a square patch of pine trees, and I think it's one of the only places in Bloomington, Minnesota where you can't hear a single car. So I really like that spot a lot, because I can just set up a hammock, I can write, I can read, I can just relax, meditate, do my own thing, and just recenter myself.
For sure.
But as far as like food places to eat around here, I guess I mentioned Mesa, but that's not really. I do like Casetta's in St. Paul. That's a good Italian restaurant. I also Red Wagon is pretty cool. That's another pizza place. I don't know. How about you? Do you like any restaurants around here?
Actually, one place that I was just taken to last week was a sandwich place called Capriati's or something like that. They make super good sandwiches.
Never heard of it. Where's that?
That's actually just in Edina, just kind of by just like right by the mall, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
right by Southdale. So I got to ask, what's on your playlist right now? What are you listening to?
Ooh, I like that question. Right now, I've actually been listening to a lot of Bob Marley, because I actually just bought like Best of Bob Marley record from Barnes and Noble, so I've been listening to a lot of him. I've also been listening to a fair amount of Logic. I know a total hipster and or whatever, but he's a good artist. I like him.
For sure. He's
I've-
good. He's popular for a reason.
Yeah, that's true. And he's also that kind of person. Like, I know he talks about a lot in his music, but he's always talks about peace, love, and positivity, which is really cool because
Mhm.
not a lot of hip hop artists are talking about that,
Yeah.
which is something I respect and look up to in that regards. I've also have a couple weird oddballs out there, but I've listening to a couple Simon and Garfunkel,
Classics.
yeah,
Yep.
and then I've also been listening to a fair amount of Prince. I don't know if it's just because I've been seeing a lot because his anniversary was a couple days ago, but I've been really into him lately. And that's about it for now. My music genres are always changing. I listen to all kinds of music. There's not one specific thing I listen to all the time. It's always changing
Yeah.
to whatever kind of mood I'm in or whatever people I'm around. But
It's good to keep it diverse because then you're not
Mhm.
just stagnant listening to the same thing over and over again.
right. How about you? What's on your playlist right now?
Oh, well, I don't really have a playlist. I just kind of go on YouTube and search for whatever, like maybe I'll hear something and then it'll suggest something kind of cool.
Mhm.
So, I mean, so Izzy Stradlin, I got a record of his a couple months ago, and there's this great song by him called Shuffle It All that you guys should check out. It's a good jam.
Very nice.
That's my recommendation.
I'll listen to it. I have not.
All right.
I'll check it out.
All right, and our last question here is, what would be your best advice or life lessons since graduating or living on your own?
Okay, moving out of high school, graduating high
Yep.
school. Probably this is a two-part answer. One part being follow your own passion, do your own thing. Don't let other people influence who you are. You know, if you want to be an artist and you want to paint something, well, go do that. Just because someone's going to tell you that you can't make any money off of it, they're talking out their ass. Like,
Yeah.
if you really want to make money off of being an artist, you can do that.
Yeah, you just got to go after it.
Exactly. And then the other part of it is I've learned a lot about finances and time management living on my own, as far as, you know, you have to pay rent monthly and you have these other bills you have to pay attention, and you have to buy groceries, you have to buy toilet paper and all these other little things you don't really think about. But so that's one thing that's been a kind of a beneficial thing, because I'm much more aware of my finances and saving money and, you know, spending it sparingly, but also enjoying myself. Like going to Trollhagen this past weekend to go snowboarding, like I expected that. And going on this trip to Los Angeles at the end of May, it's like I'm preparing for it, so I'm saving up money for it.
It's just things you kind of take for granted when you're living with like your family or something like that. It's expenses you don't think about necessarily.
Like where your parents will pay for your gas or they'll pay for your food. It's like now you have to pay for car insurance, you have to pay for your phone bill, you have to pay for all these other things. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's a fair enough answer as any.
For sure. I like it.
So I think we're getting close to the end here.
Yep.
Any final thoughts?
I don't have any. It's
a wonderful day outside.
Yeah, it's been great to have this nice conversation out in the nice. We're sort of in a corner of a room, sort of looking out both windows. It's a nice sunshiny day.
Yeah, I really wish my wrist didn't hurt, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I need to go get an x-rayed soon.
Doctor time.
Yeah, I don't know when they close today. Maybe 5.
It's Sunday, so you might want to hurry.
Well, that's what the internet's for. I'm sure they'll have the hours.
I mean, it's Monday. That's what we said, right?
Yeah, enjoy your week. Make it the best week of your life. I hope you guys enjoyed the second week of our podcast. I hope it went smoother than the last one. I think it did. I think this one was much more organized, but it'll only get better as time goes on. Thank you all for listening, and I appreciate your support very much.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Don't do drugs.
See ya.